Welcome. It's Monday night, and this is our Monday night announcement. Let's start with spelling words. So this week we have spelling quiz number 5. So I'm going to give you the words for spelling quiz number 5. The quiz will be due by Sunday by midnight. So let's get to it. Word number 1, library. By now, we've had our library research workshop. Number 2, license, like a driver's license. Number 3, loneliness. 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 Number 4, losing. The team was losing the game. Number 5, marriage. Marriage. Number 6, mathematics. Not just math, mathematics. Number 7, medicine. Medicine. 8, miniature. Like a miniature poodle or miniature golf or a miniature schnauzer. Schnauzer. A miniature schnauzer. Number 9, mysterious. Mysterious. Number 10, naturally. Naturally. Number 11, necessary. Necessary. Number 12, neighbor. Won't you be my neighbor? Number 13, neither or neither, however you like to say it. Number 14, noticeable. Noticeable. 15, occasion, like a special occasion. Number 16, occurred. It occurred to me that blah, blah, blah. It had occurred to me that blah, blah, blah. Number 17, omission. Omission. Number 18, operate. Operate. 19, optimism. Optimism. And number 20, alt. You ought to learn how to spell alt correctly. Alt. You oughta. That's usually how we say it. You oughta know how to la la la. But the formal word, the singular word is alt. All right, those are our spelling words for quiz number 5, which the quiz will pop up in the announcements, likely to by the morning. Might pop up overnight since I'm a night owl. That's what I do. You can find the link for it in the announcements, or you can go to lessons and choose it from the lessons folder. All right, so this week by Sunday, you're going to turn in a rough draft, our first rough draft for the critical essay. Now, like I said, we're going to take the longest amount of time with this essay because this essay, it's a lot to it. And we're going to do it bit by bit like we've been doing. This particular rough draft, doesn't have to have any research in it. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to write your rough draft, all 5 paragraphs, introduction paragraph, unbiased summary paragraph, opposition's opinion paragraph, your opinion paragraph, and conclusion paragraph. Write all 5 of those paragraphs without including any research in it. So don't quote anybody, don't put in any statistics. Just write what you know or write what you believe without saying, I believe. And then I'm going to show you through the magic of quotation sandwiches how to insert research into your paper. Now, since your topics came from or have been influenced by those topics that we saw in opposing viewpoints, since they are controversial topics, which means that there's research that supports one side and research that supports another side, when you have a topic like that, just about anything that you write, you're going to be able to find research for. And when we start practicing the quotation sandwich format of inserting quotes into a paper, you'll see how you can slide that research right into the words that you've already written. So sometimes people do research and they start with, or they do research papers and they start with some secondary research, or they start with primary research, like they do an experiment and they have their data and then they write about it. A lot of research though, a lot of research papers and a lot of especially journalism comes from the writer's heart or the writer's mind. And then you find research that agrees with what you're saying or goes against what you're saying. There's so much information at our disposal nowadays that just about anything that you can think about, any theory that you could come up with, you can find some research on it. Now, whether the research is credible or not, that's a different question. You're not allowed to have sources that are not credible here. That's why we're using Galileo. At the very least, at least Galileo and opposing viewpoints have sources that are credible. And how you know what a credible source is if you take information from a credible source and you put it in your paper. Let's say your paper gets published. It winds up in a magazine or academic journal, or somebody reads it on air, or you read it at a seminar. If that information is wrong and a lot of people are misled, you can point to the source and the source will take the blame for it. A lot of times if you read newspapers or magazines, or even if you hear like on the nightly news, every once in a while, reporters will come back and they'll say, yesterday we reported that blah, 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 blah. But what it really was blah, 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 blah. Sorry for if there was any confusion. They'll own up to their mistakes. Now, if you get some information from somebody's blog from around the corner, and you cite them and use them in a research project, and then you try to blame them for their bad information, they're not going to take the blame. You're not going to be able to sue them and save your reputation. It's not going to happen because they're not a credible source. So think about that, about what a credible source is when you get sources in the future, especially if they don't have to come from Galileo. All right, so there is an ongoing extra credit that you are allowed to do. And it is reciting alphabet aerobics. And it's a song, and it's one of the hardest songs to rap. but a lot of actors do it, like Daniel Radcliffe. He's one of the most famous actors that practices doing things like alphabet aerobics before, uh, just to get his speaking on point before performing. Um, Daniel Radcliffe is the guy who played Harry Potter. And I'll post a video of Daniel Radcliffe doing it in the midweek announcement. And that's where you'll get the other extra credit too. But just for a preview, the other extra credit, this week's extra credit is about BitTorrents. So the question is, what is a BitTorrent? Is it legal? Is it ethical? And if you were to use it, what would you use it for? I just think it's important to know about these kind of protocols, these technological protocols, because we live in a technological society. And um, once you learn about things like this, you'll be able to see why there are certain companies or sectors that are against it and why there are certain companies and sectors that are for it. Um, and that's what we're all about right now in these controversial topics. All right, so at the bottom of this announcement, you will have the link to turn in your rough draft number 1 for the critical essay. And in the midweek announcement, there will be the link for the extra credit. And you can also look for the spelling quiz to pop up by Tuesday morning. All right, I think that's it. Have a good night.